So in this video on the leads functionality within Microsoft Dynamics 365 for Sales, we're going to cover off predictive lead scoring. Now, this is one in a series we've done specifically on the leads functionality in Dynamics. You can see links to others in the series below. Also, if you've got any suggested content ideas or you need any help with Microsoft Dynamics, please see the links below. So let's go into the system and talk about predictive lead scoring. So I'm in the leads area, and at the moment I'm in an open leads view, but if I click on the down arrow here, you can see I've got a view here called My Open Leads Scored. Now, this doesn't appear until you set up the predictive lead scoring, and that does need to be enabled in the system. And for that to run, it does need 40 qualified won and 40 qualified lost leads to process. So effectively what it is it's a machine learning model that predicts the scores, the probability of a lead closing based on historical data. So the principle being that if you can easily look at a list of leads and see which are the most promising, it allows you to focus on those and sort of make sure you're moving those forward. Now, as I say, it needs to be enabled, and the way that appears is per this view below. So in this view, I can see that I've got a score. So if I look at Bob Jones here, I've got a score of 61. So the scoring is actually between 0 and 100. And I've got a score trend of improving. And effectively what happens is the system, the predictive lead scoring model runs every day, and effectively if it's improving, then it's an improvement on the previous cycle. It might be static, it might be declining, and then it's going to give it a grade A through to D, and that's actually set up in the system itself. And you can sort of say, well, 80 to 100 is a grade A, and 60 to 80 is a grade B, etc., etc. So you've got the ability to set that up. If I go into a record, you can see how this starts to appear. So I'm actually in a Sales Insights view. That's where it appears by default, but you can add this to Sales Insights form. You can add this to any lead form if you want to. And you can see here I've got this lead score appearing in the form. So it's saying it's a grade A, it's improving, and I've got 61 out of 100. And then if I click on details, it's not going to give me a lot here. Now, the problem is I'm running this against test data in my sandbox, and in truth it's not really picking up any patterns. I've actually set it up so we have disqualified 40 leads, we have qualified 40 leads, so that's allowed it to be enabled, but it's not really picking up any great patterns or factors, which is not surprising because I did that on a fairly random basis. But it'll give you that score, it'll give you the trend over time, and then it will give you a list of score improvers, and so positive things about this particular lead, and also list any negatives about the lead. As I said, there's not a lot of data here to go on just because it's a test system. So that's predictive lead scoring. Basically, the system itself is calculating what it thinks are the factors that lead to a lead being successful or unsuccessful, but you can change that model, you can tune that yourself. You can have multiple models in place. If you have sort of different batches of leads that kind of behave in different ways, perhaps being handled by different teams, then you can have a different model applied to different areas of the business effectively. So in terms of whether I think it's useful or not, I think it's a feature that applies both to leads and opportunities. I think it's going to be better for opportunities because opportunities tend to be open longer. They tend to change over time. You've got more data to work with. Typically with leads, certainly in terms of the setups we would typically see, It's leads are very much being used as a holding area. So you've got a flow of data perhaps coming in from landing pages, contact us pages, perhaps inquiries at emails, all funneling into the leads area. And leads is being used as a bit of a staging area where you can review that data before you commit it to the main database, and convert it to a sort of contact account and if required, an opportunity. So on that basis, it's data that's fairly quickly handled, and you're not typically dealing with a great number of fields. So I'm not entirely sure how much use it would be in that particular use case, but people use leads in different ways. So there may be organizations that track leads, track a lot more data against the leads, and perhaps that lead is open in the system a lot longer, so that may work for them. I think given it's a feature of the system, I think at the time of recording this video, I think it's a sales enterprise feature. If you've got it, there's absolutely no harm in turning it on and seeing what happens and seeing what patterns the machine learning model picks up. Bear in mind some of those patterns might be false positives or false negatives, but it might give you some additional insight, and it might be a useful tool. I'd be inclined to kind of run that in the background for a while, particularly if you think it might confuse users, and if you feel it's going to add some value and it is predicting accurately which leads people should focus on and which they shouldn't, then obviously that's something that you can roll out to everybody. Anyway, hopefully that's a sort of useful insight into the lead predictive scoring capabilities within Dynamics. I'd say it's one in a series we've done specifically on the leads functionality within Dynamics. You can see links to others in the series below. Also, if you've got any suggested content ideas or you need any help with Microsoft Dynamics, please see the links below. Anyway, thanks very much for watching, and hopefully see you again soon.